of the portion of Torah of what is called Matot. It's sort of an approach. It means that the Creator is approaching Moses to approach chief of staff. Yeah? So it's the power to actually change the direction or the attitude of the heart. Okay. So in this, in this portion of Torah, we are offered actually three tikkunim, or three reformations, which are to do with the way that we actually can enter. So can enter the land of Israel, meaning we can enter this complete will, and where we can feel the complete will is in the world of Atzilut. So entering Israel is basically that attitude. But let us try to read, and then it's usually the two last portion of Torah of the book of Bamidbar, or the book of Numbers. And it starts with the reformation of the speech, or that which a person can vow to. So it's speech that allows the higher to recognize that the createe, that us, that the human wish to open the gates for it to inhabit higher in himself. So it's a form. It's a form of a vow. It's actually saying that we're going above the regulation, or above our habits and understanding of the work, or above our understanding of ourself, or of the higher. Okay. So we start with it's verse 2 in chapter 30. Okay. Just to allow you to sense, okay, how it is written. So they're very, very thin. Okay. Oh, I'm not in the right book. Okay. 30. So nothing to do with what I'm speaking about. Okay, Numbers 31, 30. Okay. Okay. It starts with its laws regarding vows. And Moses spoke unto the heads of the tribes. It's more to do with the language of it is to do with stuff, and I'll explain it in a minute. The heads of staff, or chief of staff, the head of the tribes, concerning the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Now, if a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. So now we're meeting a moment before entering the land of Israel, we find that there is a reformation of the speech. We see that there is the command of actually fighting with Midian, which is to do with everything with the power of imagination. Okay? So the speech, the power of imagination, and then there is the story of the two and a half tribes who actually ask to stay out of the border of Israel, on the border, but outside of it. And the speech is that they will fight, or at least the power of, they will join the power of the army that is going to occupy the possibility of all other tribes to be able to settle themselves in this completion of the spirit mission, and yet they will stay when it's finished. When it will finish, they will stay out of it. So let's say in terms of the structure of the world, they are not going to be a permanent residence of the world of Atzilut. They're going to stay in Bria. So outside, and it will be actually that because of that, those 2.5 tribes will be the first to dwindle and to disappear from the common story, first of the spirit, but of the common or communal, one can say, communal spirit of Israel. So we have three ways actually to examine what spiritually what this portion offers. So reformation of speech, reformation of the power of imagination, and reformation of the attitude and perception of the land of Israel, or of Atzilut, one can say. And that all three of those will actually enable, all the three will enable the journey, because then the next portion of Torah, which will be the end or the closure of the book of Bamidbar, will be, one can say, the journeys or the travelings of Israel, meaning all the 42 stations and one can say stages or processes that all Israel will have to go, and each spirit will have to go. But in order to be able to tell it, in order to be able to actually be aware of it, we need those three reformations to occur in us. It means that the speech should be careful and to do with what concerning what, or in relation to what speech is happening. It suggests that it is a way to tie the knot between the life, the story of the life, and the story of the life is the story of the true story of the life is the story of the spirit, with the attitude towards the creator, and with sort of harnessing in the right way the power of imagination. Okay. So in respect to this, I would like to tell you a very known Hasidic story. So, and then we could understand maybe more, because a story is being told as directing our the power of imagination towards creating a new will or a new consciousness, to create a new ties that were not there before. So the story is a story about Baal Shem Tov, that every time that there was agony and stress and tribulation with any community in the diaspora, in exile of Israel, he would go to a specific place in the woods. He would light a candle and pray, and that would sort of overcome. So first it's the time of stress. It's to do with our time. And as the generation changed, people did not remember not the prayer, not the lighting of the candle, but they remember the place where Baal Shem Tov would go, and that was enough. And then when it arrived to the last generation, which was Rabbi Israel Mirozhin, he said that he even forgot where the place is, but he remembers the story. And when he told the story, it was enough. The story would act. So it seems to us, because we are thinking in terms of reduction, that actually what happens is that the power of enacting the vow or the connection is reducing itself from the action in a particular place with a certain attitude, and then only remembering the place. It's like it's sort of, we get the sense of fading out of ability till we get to the last resort, which is just telling the story about it. So it feels as though the apparent way of telling this story is a dwindling of power. But actually, if we look at from the standpoint of, let's say, the intention of Baal Shem Tov, he did not intend that everyone will go to the same spot and do exactly as he did. He actually was instilling in a new possibility through the story, through a new speech, through a new possibility of tying reality with the intention or with the plan of the creator. So actually, we're not seeing dwindling of power, but we're seeing a refinement and distillation of something that is more powerful. The story is actually more powerful than the act, because the story now is in the hand not of very special people, but in the hand of everyone. Okay. Not everyone in terms of across the board. It's everyone who actually has the need or the wish to actually justify in himself all action of the creator upon people, upon ecology, and the connection between, as we learn in the gathering, between the spirit and her world. So the story is one can say, it's calling a providence. It's calling in ourselves from our side, from, one can say, even it has, and this is where maybe Pedro's question is coming into the picture. It's an act of faith, but an act of faith, one should understand, or we should understand, that it's to do with an act of art. It's the art of inspiration, or the art, which in it you have to have an inspiration from the higher, meaning knowing your limitation, and craftsmanship. What we can do is the crafts to study and to learn the craftsmanship of this art, which is called faith or belief. So the main craftsmanship is the story, because the story many times can heal connections that were or went sour or deteriorated or disappeared from the knowing of the world, and telling the story from the beginning is actually restoring not only our understanding but our connection. So actually this portion of Torah is telling us how to harness the power of imagination in order to be able to perform the right speech that will allow us to enter Israel, to enter that which is real. And then we can understand all the passages and the station of the journey, all the 42. Okay. So, what is the craftsmanship in it is usually to know. So every time to know more of, to acquire skills, one can say, of knowing the ways of creation. So every time actually we study 4 aspects of direct light, Tzimtzum Aleph and Tzimtzum Bet, and the world of what we call Katnut, and then the shattering, and then it's actually learning to tell the story right, to tell the story of how our spirit came into being, and from, one can say, from what it is composed. So when we study, let's say Zohar, when we study Ari, we're actually learning the craftsmanship of telling the story. We see it already from the book of Exodus or the book of Shmot, when it is when the story about the way we are able, or the way the Creator enabled us to go out of the strait or Egypt, in the narrow strait that our spirit or the identity of the spirit of Israel is at. So why actually there need to be 10 strikes to open? It means in order to set or to imprint our will to receive with the letters that later Israel can tell it, will be able or will have enough craftsmanship to tell the story of it. So, and by telling the story of it, they actually include all will to receive to themselves, which are epitomized by the story of Pharaoh. Okay. So this is actually something that I would like to pay attention. So I'll stop for a minute and I'll ask if you have any questions. So